Hello, my name is Pamela Allen. I'm interviewing Ebony Johnson on behalf of the Veterans History Project for Prince George's Community College, in cooperation with the Office of Congresswoman Donna L. Edwards and the Library of Congress. Today's date is October the 2nd, 2014. We are located in the television studios of Prince George's Community College in Largo, Maryland. We recently met Ms. Johnson, included in the room with Ms. Johnson on camera are operators Julia Shank, Nalia Rochelle, and Justin Smothers. This project is being coordinated by Professors Teresa Dow-Vest, Louis Roden, and Dr. Sherelle Williams. The purpose of this interview is to gain insight into the life of United States military veterans currently residing in the state of Maryland. Let's begin. How are you, Ms. Johnson?
Hi, Pamela. How are you?
I'm good, good. It's good to meet you. I'm going to start off with my first question is, where were you born?
I was born in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. I'm a Marine brat. My father retired from the United States Marine Corps.
Okay, so you stayed down there most of your childhood life?
No, I have lived all over. I lived in Norfolk, Virginia, San Diego, California. Both of my parents resided in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Arlington, Virginia.
Oh, okay. So what was it like growing up in that area down here, North Carolina? You said North Carolina, right?
Yes. Well, first of all, don't drink the water.
Really?
Yes. Well, it was great. I didn't spend that much time down there. I spent primarily most of my life in San Diego, California, and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Did you attend high school down there?
I attended high school in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Oh.
I graduated from Philadelphia High School for Girls, class of 241.
Oh, okay. What were some of your fond memories of high school?
Well, we used to have move-up day where we would all get together and dance and put on a show, talent shows. The girls would do TLC. I think it was What About Your Friends? We did a dance episode, and we had a school song called Girls High School.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Did you attend college or any secondary schools?
Yeah, I'm currently a student. I'm a full-time student at University of Baltimore.
Okay.
I am mastering I'm going towards my master's in public policy and law, JD.
Yeah. Okay. Well, why did you pick that program?
Well, because I'm a public servant.
Okay.
I am a founder and CEO of the Next Chapter Corporation, which is dedicated to empowering survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault.
Okay. Do you have siblings?
Yes, I have a 21-year-old sister and a 10-year-old little brother.
Really?
Yes, so we're all spread out. I thought I was the only child for 14 years.
For 14? That's
yes,
that's a big spread right there.
I was blessed with a little sister, and then my little brother, he's my heart, but he came out of nowhere.
I know they really look up to you.
Yes, yes, and I love them.
What was it like growing up with your family?
Crazy. Crazy.
That's in all our families, huh?
Yes. I grew up, I'm honest about it, I grew up in a very abusive home. My mother and father used to fight. My mother and her boyfriends would fight. And my dad also is a recovered alcoholic. So I lived a very turbulent childhood, but I am very proud to say that both of my parents have grown up. And we're in much better places now.
Oh, okay. Any of your siblings thinking about the service?
My sister, for a second, she thought about the Air Force, but I think she's anti-military. She pretty much is just trying to figure it out right now.
Yeah. Let's talk about your experience when you enlisted. What made you go into the military?
I wanted to get out the house. I did have a plan. I actually went to the Air Force recruiter's office and signed myself up for the Air Force. And I thought I was grown, but I was 17, so I needed my mom's permission to join the Air Force. But I had a vision. I wanted to make sure that I went to college and I knew the military would pay for college.
Yes.
And I also wanted the guaranteed paycheck and a place to stay.
alone, huh?
Yes.
On your own.
Yes. I've always been very independent.
Yes. So once you signed the dotted line, how did you feel?
I felt great. It was the best decision of my life.
Okay. So how did you feel leaving your family, to go into the service? Well, you were the only child then, right?
I had my little sister at the time, and initially I felt empowered, I felt liberated, and I think I spent maybe a week in basic training, and that first phone call home, no one picked up the phone, and I just started crying because I missed my family so much, and then finally my grandmother picked up, and I just realized how much I missed and loved my family.
Yeah. So how did they feel about your decision to enlist in the military?
They were all very proud.
They were. Oh, that's good. How old were you when you enlisted?
I was 17. I entered into the delayed enlistment program, and I actually joined when I was 18 years old in January of 1998.
Okay, so were you working? You didn't even work before
I
then?
worked several jobs throughout high school. I worked at Heckinger's. I worked at Burlington Coat Factory.
In this area?
I did the United Postal Service as well in Philadelphia.
Oh, okay, in Philadelphia. What branch of the military did you serve under?
The United States Air Force.
Okay. Did you want to go to the Air Force?
Yes, I personally think it's the best branch. My father, again, he's a retired Marine, and he pretty much told me I didn't have a choice.
Oh, really?
He wanted me to go into the United States Air Force,
oh,
yes.
Okay. So that's the reason behind it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Where were you when you started training?
In San Antonio, Texas.
Okay. Did you have any certain expectations, maybe based on what you were told about the military when you got there for training?
I did not know anything about the military when I went. I packed everything. As a matter of fact, when I went, I packed church clothes to go out. I packed everything on the list. We had a list of all the supplies we needed.
Right.
And when you get there, they make you pick everything up and take it up the steps. So I was not ready. I didn't know what to expect, and I definitely learned a lot in basic training.
Yeah. Can you describe your first few months on base?
Oh, yes. They fussed at me. I could not stand my last name when I was in basic training. It was always Johnson, 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 wake up, Johnson, hurry up. I was very slow, just basically used to doing my own thing. So I definitely learned discipline and learned teamwork in basic training.
A lot of discipline, huh? Do you find it easy, or were you having a little difficult? Well, you just answered that, difficult at first. But you were disciplined. Was it what was some of your favorite parts of training?
My favorite parts was just the camaraderie. Initially, when you walk in, you see a whole bunch of women. We're all scared. We're afraid. We're standing in the corner. And then by the end of basic training, we were sisters.
What was your biggest surprise? Who was your first friend?
My first friend, Nicole Gonzalez, and she actually ended up being my first roommate as well.
Y'all still keep in touch?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. What particular part of training has stuck with you so far now? I mean, that you probably use on a daily basis? Maybe exercise, I don't know. Something.
Basically, never, ever leave an airman behind. So basically, I struggled with the physical fitness part. When I went into the Air Force, again, I wasn't conditioned. You have to run, you have to do the push-ups, the sit-ups. I wasn't ready. And I can tell you that my drill instructors and my comrades, they actually went with me every step of the way. And by the time I graduated, I went from a 19-minute run to 10 minutes.
Okay, that's good. Can you talk about some of the drills you participated in?
Yes, I think the most exciting one was the weapons training.
Okay.
I was unfamiliar with guns. I thought I was afraid of guns, but by the time I left the range, I became an expert.
Okay.
We also did an obstacle course, which was kind of interesting. We got to hang upside down on ropes. We got to do the balance beam, and I struggled a little bit, but basically we all made it through that obstacle course.
Which weapons did you fire in training?
The M16 and M4.
Ooh, that's big, huh?
Yes, it was huge.
How long did it take you to rank expert?
It took forever. Initially, I shot 0 for 36, and come to find out, I actually shot my neighbor's target. So I had to go back to the range and shoot again, and then I qualified.
Tell me about the first time you fired the weapon.
It was scary. I was nervous. I can't see from far away, so I wasn't wearing my glasses like I should have. So I did shoot my neighbor's target, and I was scared because when they said 0, nobody shoots 0, and they did have grace and mercy on me and allowed me to refire.
Okay. Did you train with females and males?
Well, we had an all-female squadron, but we did have a brother flight as well, but they separated us.
Oh, in training?
Yes.
Can you talk about drills that were most challenging?
The most challenging definitely was the obstacle course.
Okay.
The thing about it was we couldn't curse. And I'm not going to curse now, but I don't know what happened, but the person in front of me got stuck and couldn't go forward, and we were hanging upside down on a rope. And I just kept cursing. I couldn't stop. And my drill instructor kept yelling at me, Johnson, are you cursing? And I just couldn't stop because I didn't want to jump in the water.
Right.
So that was the most challenging because I almost got recycled, which means sent back for failing the obstacle course. But again, he was nice to me and actually let me complete the course.
How well did you adapt to the military lifestyle?
Initially, I didn't adapt very well. I was very used to just doing what I wanted to do.
Right.
So basically listening to someone else and, having to follow orders, it was a struggle initially.
Where did you serve?
I served in Fort Meade, Maryland 3 times.
3?
Osan, Korea twice, Ramstein, Germany, Hickam Air Force Base, Hawaii, and I also deployed and served in Operation Enduring Freedom at Bagram, Afghanistan.
Oh, okay. What was your position?
I was an intelligence analyst.
And what were the duties of that?
Everything. My primary duties was intelligence analysis, but I also served as a training manager for majority of my Air Force career.
Oh, okay. What kind of stress will follow those duties?
Well, basically, we were always high ops tempo. We worked 24/7 operations, 365 days a year. Holidays really didn't exist, and basically your family, your personal life came second to the mission.
Wow. Were you interested or were you in direct combat at any time?
Yeah, so at Bagram, Afghanistan, I actually was there when Vice President Cheney came to visit, and we were bombed.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Oh, Lord, I'm stuck. Is there anything you believe your military training failed to prepare you for?
I believe the Air Force failed to train us and equip us for combat and how to deal with combat. We were used to working our job and the mission, but when it came to hand-to-hand combat and actually being out there in Afghanistan, really at the front lines, we really weren't prepared for that.
Right. And how did you feel, emotional-wise and all of that when they dropped the bomb? I know your head had to be going.
At that time, I felt like we failed because I felt it was my duty and responsibility to prevent something like that from happening. So I felt like we failed and we should have been able to stop it.
Oh, okay. Um, is there anything else you believe? What do you believe you could have did better into stopping it? What could you have done to stop?
Well, now I know there was nothing we could do, but at that time, we spent a lot of time basically focused on cleaning and preparing for the dignitaries. And my number one objection to that was I felt that we should have been actually sitting in our positions, working the mission, and just picking up on any indicators that could have led us to know that there was going to be a bomb or attack.
What was your role in the mission again? What was that?
For me, I was primarily a trainer. I was the non-commissioned officer in charge, so I was over most of the people on the mission, and I did analysis.
Besides the bomb, what was another big surprise that caught you off guard during your military service?
Well, during my military service, we also had a major explosion and fire in our B hut. The Korean restaurant behind us basically burnt down to the ground. So we were asleep, just got off of work, and basically we all had to be evacuated from our B hut. So that was very traumatic because we all almost lost our lives.
What do you remember about that? The smells, the sounds?
Basically, I do remember the fire because we could feel the heat. Our whole B hut was filled with smoke, and thank goodness our male counterparts next door smelled something and woke up and actually alarmed us and alerted us and got us out safely.
Well, being stormed not military, what is a B hut?
Yes, basically never leave a comrade behind. That was embedded in our heads, especially in Afghanistan.
Okay, that's what B hut stand for?
Well, the B hut is that was our living quarters. It was really a wooden hut.
Okay.
And it was maybe 10 women that lived in that same hut. So it was open area, a wooden hut, and then our bathrooms were outside. We had what we call outhouses or porta potties.
Oh, yeah. Who were you close to?
When I was deployed? My NCOIC, her name was Danielle Unger. Her and I were very close. And Lisa Batista, she just had a baby. Her baby was 6 months old when she deployed. So her and I got very close. And I realized at that moment, like, how much she missed her daughter. So I would try to make it positive for her.
Okay. Y'all still in touch?
No, I haven't been able to find any of my comrades. No. Not on Facebook or anything.
Would you say that your personality has changed anyway since you served in the military? Like before you went, you had this personality, but once you came home, you had this personality.
Yes, my family definitely says that I've changed since I went into the military. I'm much more disciplined, much more strict, and much more professional. And then coming back home from Operation Enduring Freedom, I definitely suffered from the impact of post-traumatic stress disorder and depression, and really readjusting back to normal life.
Do you think the military helped you cope with the abuse you experienced at home?
No,
at home.
I think basically in the military, I felt like we underwent a lot of abuse sometimes from the male and female supervisors, from talking to you very mean, or I faced a lot of discrimination, sexual harassment. So basically it just kept piling on, and that led to much depression and some of the post-traumatic stress disorder.
So how did you overcome your depression?
Through prayer.
Yes.
Counseling. I have been cognizant of myself, so whenever I feel myself getting low or feeling down, I actually go and speak to a counselor, or I'll call on my friends or my family.
Ooh, Jesus. What are some of the things you do in your spare time? when you were in the military, but you weren't working off duty?
So on my spare time, we partied. We definitely had a great time.
Mm-hmm.
So I had some great friends. We would go out. We would sightsee. That was a great thing, especially in Germany. I went all over Europe. And I also like to read and listen to music.
Mm-hmm. Can you share a time when you partied with your friends?
Yes. So Osan, Korea, we partied every single day, but we worked hard and we played hard. Mm-hmm. And then coming back home from deployment, I definitely suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder, and I had the high. You know, I had the extra money. I really wasn't ready to deal with reality, so I think I went out maybe that whole entire year. It was a blur.
You said you had the high?
I had definitely an emotional high where, you know, I saved a lot of money. Mm-hmm. I miss my friends. I miss my family. I miss being home. So when I came home, it was very hard for me to adjust. And I basically dealt with it by not facing reality. So I went out and just essentially partied, and I wasn't very responsible at that time.
Okay. So how did you overcome that? Because you did.
Yes, I definitely overcame it. I had to grow up.
Yeah.
I had to grow up and face responsibility. And then the reality came into play because, you know, when you spend a lot of money now, you've incurred debt. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, personal relationships begin to suffer. Yes. My family relationships begin to suffer. And my career began to suffer. So I had to basically grow up and become focused again on a mission in my job and my personal life.
Yes. When did you come out of the service?
I came out, I separated from the Air Force in July 21st, 2012.
That's my birthday, July 21st.
Yes.
Woo, but it's a good day for you.
Yes, it was almost like my birthday, like my rebirth.
Yes. Where were you last located at the end of that?
In Fort Meade, Maryland.
In Fort Meade. What was one of your favorite places that you served in? What was one of the favorite countries or places that you served?
So my favorite place, hands down, was Osan, Korea. And then my second place would have been Ramstein, Germany, because of the travel. I mean, you can travel all throughout Europe for cheap.
Okay, cheap. What kind of welcome did you receive from your family when you came home? And friends?
My mother, she loves me. Mm-hmm. My mother always has been there every time that I come back, whether it was from Hawaii, Germany, and especially after I deployed. My mother, my father, my sister, my little brother, my aunts, uncles, mm-hmm. all of them actually came to the airport to see me, you know, with the balloons and the flowers, just to make me feel loved.
Did you have issues readjusting to civilian life?
Yes.
And that's where the depression came in?
It took a long time I just separated in 2012. I had to readjust and basically look for employment. And mm-hmm. I prepared maybe 2 years out, and it still took me about maybe 3 months to find employment. And I was working, so I was on a high. Mm-hmm. You know, I did land my first job with my first interview, so I was prepared. And then I lost my position due to furlough.
Yes.
So I had to deal with that, where I was on a high, I was getting paid, I had a steady paycheck, and then I lost my job.
Did the military help you with your adjustments?
Not as much as I think they could have. I was very proactive, so I sought the training, I sought career counseling, and I had very good mentors and recruiters to help me adjust.
Okay. What kind of things have you done since you've been home?
Well, since I've been a civilian, first I served 2 years in the private sector as a government contractor. Mm-hmm. I launched my own nonprofit, so it's called The Next Chapter Corporation. So mm-hmm. I'm founder and CEO, and I support survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault. So that's my job. I empower them, I mm-hmm. support them, and I've built a team with my nonprofit. And I'm also now a government worker, so I work for the Department of Housing mm-hmm. and Urban Development. And I'm a student
at
University of Baltimore,
mm-hmm.
pursuing my master's in public policy.
Can you describe some more about your nonprofit? What you do on a day-to-day basis for your nonprofit?
Yes, so we were just incorporated and 501c3 certified on the 18th of August. So right now we're formulating our board. In April 25th of this year, I actually launched the first Sexual Assault Awareness and Action Forum in Prince George's County, and that's what started the nonprofit. And then now we're building up to actually launch in January of 2015, and we're going to start off with a vision board party, a fitness expo, and actually a forum to discuss issues facing women with domestic violence and sexual assault.
Okay. That's awesome. Are you a member of any veterans organizations?
Yes, I am a part of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. I'm the former vice president of the Air Force Sergeants Association, and I support all. And I'm also a member of Women's Veterans Interactive, which is a strong advocate for women veterans.
How did your service in the military affect your life?
I can say it definitely prepared me for the next step, in the sense of now when I walk into a work center, I know I have the leadership skills. I know I have the ability to manage and, to organize meetings and team build.
Is there anything about yourself you learned that you didn't know before?
That I can easily adapt and adjust.
Okay. Are there any brief reality checks you want to give for the next generation, to help them along the way?
Yes, always be prepared for the next step. I tell young people to prepare for 10 years from now. So consistently build yourself, whether it's education, whether it's building relationships and networking, or whatever you need to do, even if it's fitness and health, make sure that you prepare yourself constantly.
What would you tell your 17-year-old self if you could?
To get in shape. No, I would tell my 17-year-old self just to prepare for that next step. So I would have actually exercised and made sure I was physically prepared and mentally prepared before I went into the Air Force.
Is there anything else you feel like you want to discuss or should have added to help out the next generation of the military force?
Yes, it's important, especially for women veterans, to build a sisterhood, to make sure they connect with one another, to build a support system, and also to make sure you're taking care of yourself and continuously growing in your career and in life.
Okay. Did the military help you with your school?
Yes, so I always received 100% tuition assistance, which I didn't really take advantage of while I was in the military. And then post-military, I received my 9/11 GI Bill benefits, which are great. We receive housing plus the 100% tuition assistance as well. So that's helped tremendously. And I'm not in debt with college loans.
If someone wanted to, how could they help you with your nonprofit?
They can volunteer. They can email me at thenextchaptercore@gmail.com. And basically, we are The Next Chapter. We do have a website called thenextchaptercore.com as well. We are looking for executive board members. We're looking for volunteers, and we're looking for advocates for victims of domestic violence and sexual assault.
What was your biggest inspiration for starting your nonprofit?
Because I was a victim of sexual assault when I was 15 years old, and I believe that impacted the rest of my life. Basically, I entered into 2 abusive relationships while I was in the military, so I had to adjust, to trying to look like I'm put together and take care of my troops while I was falling apart myself as well. And for me, I just want to empower other women and let them know that they're not in the situation alone. That there is help and support for them. and I want to go away from traditional counseling, which we offer. We do offer the counseling and advocacy, but I want to empower the women through support groups and through a network.
I'm sorry that happened to you.
Thank you.
And I'm glad and thank God that you have gotten better. I can see that all over you.
Yes, I've been empowered.
Yes.
I've been renewed.
What is the military doing to help women who suffer while serving?
Well, I don't think the military does enough, but I think part of that is you have women that feel like they're alone, like they can't report it, like they can't tell. Like, you know, I can tell you that I was in Hickam Air Force Base, Hawaii, and my husband abused me, and because he was my dependent, I was told I had to take care of him, and there was nothing that they could do to hold him accountable. So we had to go to the private sector, which was Hawaii, and Hawaii said there was nothing they could do because he was on a military installation. Ultimately, because of my first sergeant, who definitely supported me throughout the whole process, he was prosecuted by the Air Force, but it took a lot of work, and I can see how women can feel like they don't have a choice, like they don't have a voice, and like they can't get out of the situation.
Is your organization only for women who serve?
No, my organization, we actually have several male members, and we do cover all victims of domestic violence and sexual assault, because men are affected too. And we address batterers as well, as far as the batterers intervention program.
Okay. Wow, that's good. That's good stuff.
Yes.
Do you have children?
I don't have any children yet. I am planning on having children one day. And the military definitely affected that as well. I never wanted to go to war and leave my children. So that stopped me. I was married. My husband definitely wanted children, but I just could not imagine leaving my baby behind to go to war.
So when you do have them, and you will, would you advise them to serve?
Yes, I personally think everyone should serve in the military.
Really?
For a small portion of their life, just to get the experience and know what it's like to serve your country.
Okay. Let's see. You have anything else you want to elaborate on?
You know, I just would like to thank you. I'm very honored to be here.
No, I'm honored to be here.
Yes, I'm very happy that you're highlighting women veterans, because many times we don't get honored and don't get recognized enough. So I'm very proud to serve, proud to be here, and also thank you to Congresswoman Donna Edwards for being behind this project.
Thank you so much, Ms. Johnson, for taking time out to share your stories with us. On behalf of the officers of Donna Edwards and Prince George's Community College, we appreciate your service to the country and for your interview today.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and I appreciate you.